Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a spooky story for you, and it is from the book of Dreams of Decadence. And this story isn't that spooky in retrospect, but I wanted to start off slow since this is the first Spooky Story Monday that I'm doing for the month of October. I figured we'd start out simple and then work our way up. So the story I'm going to read for you guys today, and before you yell at me about wearing my glasses if you've seen my other videos, I tried and the glare from the light is just too much, so I'm going to have to do it without them. But anyways, the story I'm going to read from this book to you guys is called Home Visitor by Anne K. Schwader. Not quite sure how you would pronounce that last name, but I'm going to read this to you. It is a short story. Probably about 8 pages or so. Actually, maybe not even that. I think it's 6 pages. But anyways, this book is actually from a magazine that used to produce literature that was about vampires, and so this has lots of short stories and poems in it. And if for whatever reason you do want to check this book out, I will try to find it, and if I can, I will link it below. If not, again, it is called The Best of Dreams of Decadence, and it's a really good book. I like it. So anyways, the story again today that we're going to read is called Home Visitor. So, let's get into it. Today I can hear him waiting for me even before I pulled the key card out of the loft security door. Not a good sign. Soft whispers of Egyptian cotton sheets across skin and pajamas, fidgety creaking of bed springs, straining lungs, all the sick room noises I barely heard standing by his bed 6 months ago. Now perfectly clear as I set down my 2 IV bags and slide the door open. The bags slosh a little as I pull them inside, and I catch my breath, hoping against hope that Robert hasn't heard. But of course he has. Jan Ice, his motorist, whines in the next room, propping him up to meet me. I thought you'd never get here this afternoon. What kept you? Expedited funeral call for my 2 o'clock, but I'm not about to say so. Waiting alone with that wasted body for nearly an hour was bad enough. Exped funeral teams don't want their clients left unattended, though they're real quick enough to kick you out once they've arrived. I wish I didn't know why. Screwed up traffic, I fib, trying not to notice the sun sinking fast beyond the darkening privacy tint of the floor-to-ceiling window. Hefting both IV bags again, I start across the great room's collection of antique Turkish carpets. Their mellowed colors and soft textures under my cross trainers tempt me to dawdle until I hear Robert's breathing quicking. No sense in risking him getting impatient. He's probably too weak right now to even stand, let alone do any damage, but there's always a first time. Pasting my patented home visitor smile across my unsteady lips, I try not to react as I step into his bedroom suite. Full-blown CRS isn't pretty. Robert's pale blue-veined arms on the top of the down coverlet look noticeably thinner than they did last week. Their surgical shunts jut out near the bend of each elbow. The sunken planes of his face make it hard to remember that he's only 49. 49 and not likely to make 50. And you're expecting to. Setting down the IV bags and injection kit, I struggle with my own fears. Yes, I'm CR positive, but I sure as hell don't have CRS yet, and maybe by the time I do, there'll be a cure. Probably the same way Bangkok vaccine cured AIDS 30 years ago. Nobody gets it anymore, at least nobody newsworthy does, and we're all just supposed to forget how long it took the last cases to die out. At least AIDS got a little sympathy in this country, endless feel-good charity benefits with celebs eulogizing dead friends, relatives, and the like. CRS never made it that far. About 6 years ago, when the first full-blown case hit, one CR-positive Hollywood actor did the liberal thing and admitted his status. 48 hours after the interview hit the net tabloids, the guy's body turned up in LA, in a back alley in pieces. Even the tabloids wouldn't touch that one. You don't look so good, Robert says, through his yellowed hazel eyes, still targeting my IV bags. Was the elevator out? We both know his building's elevator never goes out for more than 5 minutes. Downtown luxury loft complexities can't afford problems like that. Robert used to own, maybe still does own, the hottest, wildest non-virtual nightclub in this city. I used to think it was no wonder he caught CRS, but life's gotten too short for blame games. After all, it wasn't my fault I got jumped behind the gallery 2 years ago, sneaking a breath of fresh air during my first solo show's evening opening. Nothing to worry about, I finally tell him. I was just up a little late last night. Last night and every night. As I pick my way through the teetering piles of books surrounding his bed, I try to remember the last time I slept for more than an hour before dawn, or really woke up before noon without popping caffeine tablets. A knowing smile knifes across Robert's face, but the craving in his eyes doesn't ease. I move to the left-hand IV stand and change its bag. The empty sags onto the floor like a small, drained animal. Robert's gaze follows the replacement as I put it up. By the time I've repeated the process on the right side of the bed, one skinny hand is snaking out for the needle tube. I grab the tube and hang it over the stand. You know the rules, injection first. He lunges for the left-hand needle tube instead, knocking the book off his coverlet onto the floor. I loop back the tempting tube before retrieving his reading material. Dylan Thomas collected. It's a real hardback, cloth covers polished with wear. Always knew you had good taste, I murmur. Robert's not in the mood for literary discussions, however. Snatching the book from my hand, he collapses onto the pillows with a nasty wheeze, sounding far too much like the 2 o'clock client I had last week. I turn away for my injection kit. Haven't been taking your pills today, have you? He glares up at me, then shrugs. We both know he'd be flat on his back and nearly comatose if he had. Sometimes I suspect that that's the whole point of CRS chemo. Do you even take yours? He demands in a painful whisper. I hesitate. Most of the time, but I haven't for nearly a week, and something in those discolored eyes knows that. Something in them has watched me choke and run for the toilet at the merest whiff of those pills, never mind getting one down my throat. My prescription isn't the same as his, but it's close enough. Very pure essential oil, expensively pure, unaffordable without my home visitors program discount. With it, the cost is ridiculously low, probably heavily subsidized, and the feds need us visitors just as we are. CR positive and holding. Any sickern would be useless, any improvement in sweet dream, we'd be out of here. The program stipend for our 1 day a week couldn't possibly justify the risks. But nobody holds CR positive forever. Having allergy problems, Robert's thin smile turns momentarily vicious. I remember mine, quit taking the damn pills for nearly a month. Felt marvelous. His smile fades, then the craving started. The craving, there's only one with CRS, and this little former vegetarian doesn't feel like discussing it. I fish Robert's preloaded spray hype out of my kit and take a deep breath and reach for his arm. Something between a curse and a growl emerges from his cracking lips. Both arms disappear under the coverlet. A neck vein will work just as well, you know. The black joke dies in my mouth. It's your choice. One way or another, I've got to give you this. Poison, he says. I'm not here to poison you, Robert. I'm here to help you. I glance away from the damn spray hype, trying to focus his attention on those 2 plump IV bags. The sooner you get your shot, the sooner I can hook you back up. But his attention won't refocus. Those jaundiced eyes burn into mine like a dying wolf's with a predator's absolute truth. Tell you what, he rasps, lung straining again. Take a whiff of it first, then try telling me how much it's going to help. The room falls hospital silent as he struggles for breath. See if either of us believes it. My gorge rises just thinking about his suggestion, but I step back from his bed and unsnap the spray hype's drug chamber. Raising the open chamber slowly toward my nose, I fan the scent upward. Then snap the chamber closed with a curse of my own. It's lucky that Robert's bathroom is only a few steps away. Afterwards, I scrub my hands with Lady Macbeth thoroughness fine milled sandalwood soap exorcising the last lingering hint of garlic. When I emerge from the bathroom, I do not say any more about helping Robert. His arms are outside of the coverlet again, their twin shunts quiver with each breath he takes, but he hasn't tried another grab for the IV tubes. Maybe our brief argument wore him out too much. Or maybe he's decided to trust me. Cursing us both for idiots, I pick up the spray hype off the polished hardwood floor with 2 fingers and drop it back into my kit. Then I reach for the loop-back needle tubes and start hooking him up. "Thank you," he whispers, as his left hand shunt opens for business. Trapped by the bitter truth of the moment, I wonder what the hell he's thanking me for. These bags I've hung are our program's largest legal limit, and Robert's been doing 2 a day for the past month or so. They're always drained when I arrive, and I'm afraid to compare notes with his other home visitors to see if they've noticed anything different. Very soon now, maybe tomorrow, the maximum rotation will not be enough. Carpathian retroviral syndrome is a uniquely demanding progressive disease. I start connecting the right hand shunt, but Robert's hand snaps to intercept the IV tube. His burst of energy startles me until I realize how long I took recovering from that whiff of chemo. It's undoubtedly full sundown by now. Releasing the tube, I back off slowly, spreading my hands to show they're empty and harmless. Then I realize Robert's not even focused on me. More for my sake than his, I look away as he disconnects the needle plug to put the tube into his mouth. 1 100, 2 100, 3. After checking out the floor's hand pegging for a full minute, I look up to see both needles both properly shunted and the right hand IV bag is a quarter low. The scent of the whole natural blood curls through the room like incense. Swallowing a mouthful of my own saliva, I wonder what this week's mandatory donor would think. Most probably assume they've bled for the rich. After all, blood substitute works fine for most everything from surgical transfusions to trauma. Too bad CRS knows the difference between the real stuff and synthetic, or animal blood for that matter. As it is, some of our cities are bleeding themselves dry. Since NIH pushed the Medical Emergency Act through Congress 2 years ago, any state that deems it essential can call up each qualified donor once per 3 months without explaining the actual nature of the emergency. California's increased that to once per 2, and I hear they're still not keeping up. So much for CRS therapy in America. China is using bullets. I wouldn't do that again, I finally tell him, weaving my way back through the stack of books. Won't last you nearly long enough that way. Robert shrugs and picks up his Dylan Thomas book. His hands tremble a little, but his color is improving rapidly. Flipping the book's cover open across his lap, he leaps through its worn pages almost without looking, then taps one finger against a poem until I move closer. My stomach clenches. Do not go gentle into that good... Holy shit, Robert, don't do this to me. Not now. Not this week, I mean. Not after calling an exped funeral team for my 2 o'clock, remembering the muffled thwack of a mallet behind an apartment door, and other uglier noises. I know I can't call those people again just yet, not even if it means leaving a CRS casualty alone overnight. But he keeps tapping the page until I have a look again. This, he whispers faintly, painfully. This is what they want. Bastards want us to go gentle. The whisper turns into a gasp. Rage, rage. He sinks back then, pulse fluttering under my trained fingers, heightened color from the blood fading fast. I reach for his right hand shunt and work the tube free, then the needle plug. A little blood smears out on my fingertips. Pushing those fingertips between his lips, I feel the tiger rasp of his tongue while I'm trying to poke the tube into place. Easy, I murmur. You'll be getting enough soon. Sharp enamel threatens to replace the sandpaper, but I pull my fingers out just in time. The fluid level of the right hand IV bag drops abruptly. Robert's eyelids close. Watching his desiccated lips sucking at the tube, I wish certain East Euronuclear inspectors could be here with me. They had their warning back in '86, with those mutating bulls around Chernobyl. Super bulls, biologists called them 10 years later, before Ukraine started losing their wheat crop to the Fury plague. before said plague developed a taste for live protein. By the turn of the century, outlying farmers were sleeping with their AKs and yelling for chemical warfare. There weren't any Chernobyl bowls now. One season of gene-tailored bubonic saw to that, but the lesson didn't stick. When Romania's substandard plant in the Carpathians went critical later that year, even the Black Death couldn't save us from what crawled out. Robert's eyelids finally flicker back open, his right-hand IV bag sags almost empty. If he gets agitated again, he'll probably drain the other as well, so I try reading that damn poem to him softly. Aside from its blunt defiance of death, I can't see why he's chosen it. It's not even about death, really. More about the poet's beloved father slipping away and hating every minute of it. Beloved father, yeah, right. But Robert's fingertips move across the page, stabbing at the last stanza. Curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. I look at the moisture forming in his yellow wolf eyes, filling paperous creases in the corners, and the poems evaporate on my tongue. A few weeks after I got attacked, about 5 minutes after I finally told my folks that I was CR positive, my dad asked for the key card they'd let me keep when I moved out. Last conversation he and I had ever had. Mom called me next morning, voice only, and tried to explain. All I could hear were fresh bruises. Dad doesn't hit her often or hard, she claims, but he's a binge abuser like some guys are binge drinkers. Mom still won't leave him, and I've got a kid sister living at home, which is why I started signing my paintings Jan Ice, trying to believe it, trying to stay cold enough. Almost unwillingly, I touched the pink tears on Robert's cheek. He doesn't move. Maybe this last cursed blessing took too much out of him. My own wet fingertips smell faintly of blood, pain, and garlic. Government-approved poison, the same stuff I gulped down for months now, fighting to hold off the inevitable, to keep CRS from making me over. But now Robert is doing his damnedest to show me where the fight leads. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Technically, I guess his light won't be dead very long. Funny thing about CRS, which is why exped funeral teams come in. I've heard lots of rumors about how and where NIH recruits these, but I sleep better if I don't remember. And I won't sleep at all tonight if I leave Robert to them. The right-hand IV bag hangs like a collapsed lung now. Working quickly, I free his left-handed tube from its shunt and press it to his searching lip. Then I start sifting the mess on his bedside table. As I dig through months' worth of nightclub schedules, unfilled prescriptions, and less identifiable things, Robert's eyes slit open. What, he asks, with all the force of a kitten's sneeze. What the hell are you looking for? Found it. I hold the object out to him. It's a loft key card, his personal one, not the copy I've been given that I have to turn at the end of the night. Shadowy gold holographs writhe across the surface. Some are just pretties, upscale flash to impress the girls he used to bring up here. Others work as code to disarm the loft security system or a thief's better judgment. I smile at the sparkling bait and slip it into my pocket. The ghost of a smile haunts Robert's face as well, though his last IV bag is already shriveling. Don't worry, I whisper, for CR sharpened ears only. I'll send something up for you later. Given the early dark of late autumn, the tempting proximity of this complex, less choice real estate, it shouldn't be taking long. The only risk might be another CRS victim, one who couldn't afford therapy or had the street sense to refuse it. There are worse things to be in this world than faster, stronger, nastier predators. Thanks, he says around the tube in his mouth. Not a kitten sneeze now, but a cough of a waiting tiger. He's already sliding to his feet. I start backing away, small hairs picking up on the nape of my neck. Heightened senses on alert. Whoever or whatever tries this key card, my gut says Robert won't be the loser. Halfway across the Turkish carpets, I realize he's still just sitting there on the edge of the bed, in his PJs, watching me leave. The retrovirus shines in his eyes like benediction, or a father's last blessing. See you later, Janice, he says very quietly. Look me up whenever you're ready, but I wouldn't wait too long if I were you. I let myself out as always, making certain the key card resets all the loft's alarms. An elevator waits at the end of the wide plush hallway. This early in the evening in a haven of hyperachievers and go-getters, it's deeply empty. I slip inside and savor the richness of privacy. Then, for the first time in almost 2 years, I let myself smile with my teeth showing, even the sharp ones. What I like about this story is that it starts off very gradual, where at first it just appears to be a in-home care nurse taking care of someone who is ill. But then as the story goes on, you realize that it's way more complex than that, and they add information in as it goes to make you realize, oh, he's turning into a vampire. That's what this is. And I like the storytelling of it, how they make it seem like, you know, the only solution is they're getting put on a medication that will slowly keep them alive to kill them slow, basically. But anyways, I really like the story. I think it's really well written that way, that they're not giving you all the information at once. You have to read through it to get all of it, to figure out what's going on exactly. Again, I will link this down below if I can find it online. If you guys are interested in this book, it's a really good one. I've had it for a long time, so I really like it. Hopefully I can find it for you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys are reading that has a spooky vibe for fall. I hope you guys really liked this video. I will have another one of these for you next Monday. And I'm going to try to amp up the story so it is actually a little more spooky. I just wanted to start out mild. And then, of course, my schedule for this October is going to be every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I hope to see you guys here. So, see you in my next video. Bye.